I'm going to start the recording now, and we'll just jump right in because I don't want to take any more of your time than we have to. So yeah, we'll just get started. If any questions pop up during this, please message me, or you can raise your hand and we'll answer your question immediately. So thank you so much for sticking around. And without further ado, we'll just jump right into the presentation and the training. So, okay, as more people join, I will let them in. So welcome to our SolveClimate initiative. This is brand new from MUN Impact and One Shared World. It's the first time we're ever hosting this, and we're glad that you can all be a part of it. And we want you to help, obviously, drive this and lead this in the future. And my name is Zoe. I've been working with MUN Impact for about 4 or 5 years in various roles, and I'm super excited to be helping lead this campaign with all of you. So thank you all for joining, and we'll just get to explaining some more details about why this is so exciting. So first of all, I just want to go over partnerships for SolveClimate. So this is being run by both MUN Impact and One Shared World. Feel free to give a reaction if you're new to either one of these organizations. And if so, we're so excited to have you with us. Okay, awesome. I see some reactions. That's great. So welcome. So if you aren't familiar with MUN Impact and One Shared World, I'm just going to do a very quick overview about who we are. So MUN Impact is an NGO. We're a global community that believes in the power of MUN to inspire action for the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And we are completely youth-run. So, oops, sorry, my bad. All of our programs are run by high school students, college students, and I even believe some middle school students are involved as well. And we really support the idea that youth can enact global change, and that's kind of why we're all here today. And we're so excited for you to join this community if you're new, and there are so many different leadership opportunities that we have with all of our global programs. If you're not familiar with MUN, not all of our programs are related to MUN. We also have just general SDG action programs. So it's very exciting, and you can see our website for a full list of programs, or just email me and I'll connect you to the proper people. Oh, okay, can people not hear me? Maybe I have to share my audio. If somebody could just give a thumbs up if I'm audible. Okay, I see that some people have not connected to the audio. Maybe that's the problem. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay, awesome. So a little bit about One Shared World, our partner. One Shared World is another organization that focuses on global interdependence, and kind of what that means is that whatever actions you take or that are affecting you on whatever part of the world you live in is affecting somebody else on a totally different part of the planet, and that we need to work collaboratively across backgrounds, across borders, to ensure a better future for all. And One Shared World's mission is really to generate this global voice to solve common challenges that the world faces with common solutions that everyone can be a part of. And that is such an important mission, and it really fits into the climate crisis, right? Because whatever you do in I'm from the US, right? So whatever I do in the United States is affecting the planet that we all live on. It's affecting somebody who's living in China or the Philippines, let's say. And we need to come together to create these common solutions to solve these common challenges. And I think Annie Forsheimer just joined. She is one of One Shared World's leaders, and maybe she also wants to add something about One Shared World that and their mission. Annie, I don't know if you can hear, but if you want to jump in and add anything, feel free at any point.
Thank you, Zoe. No, I'll just be listening for the moment. I think you've described it really well.
I'm not sure. Okay, I can't hear you. I think it's possible that my internet is just very much not working. Um, oh, I see you now.
I
But
don't
I
know if
can't
you
hear
can
you,
hear me.
Annie.
I don't have anything to add. You've described it really well.
I cannot hear you. Can everyone else hear Annie? If you can like give a thumbs up. I do apologize for any technical issues. Okay, so other people can hear Annie. Okay, that's awesome. If you heard her, thank you. I'm so sorry that about any technical issues that come up. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Annie. Okay, so here are some shared values and why MUN Impact came together with One Shared World. We both believe in this, idea of global interdependence, and that the youth can be a driver of this and help build this better world. International cooperation, obviously, you guys can see that in the Zoom meeting, and feel free to just type in the chat, where you're calling in from, just so we can kind of see this idea of international cooperation in real time. And ensuring that the SDGs are realized by 2030, that's so important and something we both believe in. Of course, holding governments accountable to the SDGs, and then again, common solutions to shared global problems, which is the whole idea behind solving this climate crisis. Oh wow, okay, we have some incredible countries in the chat. Really people from every corner of the world. So welcome and thank you so much for joining us again. So why are we all here for the SolveClimate campaign, and what is it? That's probably a question you've all had. Maybe you're confused, so we're going to answer all of your questions right now. So SolveClimate is a campaign that's going to happen in 3 stages. Part 1 is simulation. That's what's happening next weekend. Part 2, consultations, and Part 3, advocacy. And I don't know if any of you participated in our Wash Pap campaign, but give a little reaction if you did. But we're hoping this will be quite similar to that. So we ran a campaign about a year ago that aimed to guarantee access to water, sanitation, hygiene, and pandemic protection for all by 2030. And we held a debate, and the resolution that came out of that debate, we were able to work with stakeholders and leaders, world leaders from the UN and various organizations to help edit that and consolidate it into a final document that we were then able to present to member states, and we actually got language from it included in a real UN General Assembly resolution. And that was the first time ever that youth drafted language was included in a UN General Assembly resolution, and that was huge. And we hope to do something very similar with the SolveClimate campaign by following the same flow, right? Having a debate, creating solutions, taking those solutions, presenting them to world leaders, climate leaders, stakeholders in the consultation stage, seeing where that leads us, right? Of course, we don't have any guarantees of what the future will be, but we hope that our voices will be heard on a global level, and that, the language and the solutions that we generate will be enacted in some form by global leaders. And then the advocacy is, again, talking to those world leaders and trying to make our ideas a reality. So what you participate in next weekend has implications for a very long time, and real implications. It's not just a normal debate or a normal MUN simulation. The ideas that you create are actually going to be seen by world leaders, and you'll have opportunities to participate in that and to help with this advocacy. So this is what really sets apart our work here. And we are so excited to welcome you. And how can you participate in the other 2 parts? Great question. You'll all automatically have the opportunity following our event on next weekend. We're going to send information on upcoming opportunities as they arise, upcoming meetings, and different ways to stay involved and help further develop your solutions and ideas, and then later present them to different individuals and organizations. So we will send you all the information as it comes, but once you're registered, so don't worry about anything. And I see somebody put some already some solutions, some great solutions to climate change in the chat. So thank you all for being so passionate about this. So how's the schedule going to work for next weekend? So we have two different debate times to accommodate different time zones. So like I know this session didn't accommodate everyone's time zone, and we're just going to send a recording because it's easier. But for the actual simulation, we have two different times, and there is actually an error on this slide. I apologize. The two times are 1300 UTC to 1430 UTC, and then 1600 to 1730. And I can actually, I'll change it later actually, just so we can keep moving, and then share the slides with you. But I believe that reflects what was in the registration form, 1300 and then 1600. And if somebody just wants to give a thumbs up, just confirming that, that would be awesome. But yeah, those are the two times. So you could have registered for either time, and it's 2 days long. So it's going to be 90 minutes on each day. So on July 23rd, if you registered for the 1300 to 1430 UTC, you'll come to that session, and then that'll be over. And then on July 24th, you'll come back at the same time for the second part of the debate. So that's kind of how it's going to be working. And so you should only go to one time choice. I mean, if you want to go to both, you can join both, but it's going to be the same thing for both times. The only difference are the 2 days. So you just come at the same time both days for 90 minutes each day, and that'll be your session. The 2 times, it's just like a duplicate, so people from different time zones can also join. How do you change your time? Great question. Just send me an email. I'll throw my email in the chat, and just send me an email, and please do that today as soon as possible, because I'm going to be sending out assignments tomorrow, I believe. So please email me as soon as possible. Yeah, but if you want to change your time, change it, and I think yeah, that should be good. How can I check what time I signed up for? Also email me. What are we supposed to email? Just email the time. Email the time your time preference to my email, and the time preferences are either 1300 to 1430 UTC or 1600 to 1730 UTC. And if you have trouble converting to your time zone, no, you do not need to join both times. Yeah, only one time. If you have trouble converting to your time zone, you can just look on Google, Eastern Standard Time to UTC, and it will convert it for you, or whatever time zone you're in. And if you can't figure it out, then just email me and I'll convert your time for you and let you know. So I hope that is clear, and we'll explain a little bit more the difference between what's going to happen on Saturday versus Sunday later on. So a little topic introduction. Oh yes, Mariam, go ahead if you have a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry to disrupt, but
for some reason I can't hear when people are talking. I really do not know why. If anyone has any idea why I possibly can't hear. Okay, I'm doing something with my audio. Okay, try to speak again. Mariam, if you can unmute and speak.
Okay,
hello? I can hear you now. Awesome.
I'm sorry to disrupt you. It's that I live in Afghanistan, and I have my issues or troubles like electricity blackout. So maybe at the middle of the simulation, I could just become disconnected, and so I want to actually go forth in simulation in the order of delegate. So if you could take into consideration that.
Yes, 100%. And if you want to even email me again with any concerns and requests, then we'll make it happen. But if you're having internet issues, no worries at all. We totally understand. As you can see, I have so many technical difficulties all the time, but you can definitely email me or just let me know now, and we'll make sure to accommodate you in any way. So thank you so much, and thank you for joining us all the way from Afghanistan. So if we can explain what we're doing again. Okay, so we'll get to more of the details actually soon in the presentation, Hitarth, so don't worry about it. There's a lot of more explaining to happen. So, and if you have specific questions, like, again, let me know. So basically, the topic introduction, what are we trying to do? We're trying to galvanize youth around what it would take to actually solve the climate crisis, right? You know, of course, you all have, heard of this climate crisis over and over again. It's one of the major topics of discussion, across, all levels. And the main issue is that it hasn't been solved, and it's getting worse, in fact. And, it's crazy that we've been talking about this for so many years, but nothing has been done. And that's why we've all come together, because we want to create solutions that are actually feasible to solving this climate crisis. And we want to radically change the format of discussion. And we want to shift away from thinking about this topic in terms of nation states, right, and countries, and start thinking about like interconnectivity and empowerment of youth. And that's why you're not going to be representing countries in this debate. And that's where this really differs from MUN. And this is going to answer a lot of your questions, coming up. But you're not going to be representing countries. Instead, you're going to be representing groups of people that are like stakeholders in the climate issue. And what that means is groups of people that are like affected by the issue and have a huge role in solving it. And we're going to get more to who are these groups that you're going to be representing. But it's okay, so I think some people are having trouble hearing me, and I'm not sure why, but I will be sending a recording later that you can all watch if there are technical issues, because I don't want to take more of your time, so I'd rather just get through this presentation now, and then we will send a recording out to everyone. 1 second. Okay. So as I explained just a second ago, you're not going to be representing countries, and that's kind of where we're shifting in our mindset here. And we want to really drive creative, new, innovative, and detailed solutions to address this issue. So overview. These are just some more technicalities about the debate. But the starting point, so when we think about, okay, what has happened up to this debate, what are, I guess what's the time period that we're debating? Everything, we're basically starting after the 2022 IPCC report was issued, which basically showed that current efforts to solve climate change were not sufficient. If you want to check out that report, go ahead. But that's just a time marker to kind of orient us in this conversation. And students will conduct meetings, caucuses, and again, basically students will debate as members of this worldwide stakeholder groups, not as countries. So I can repeat that 800 times. You will not be representing a country for this. And that's again why this is such a unique program. And you're going to be developing action plans that can be taken to stop the increase of global average temperatures from more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. And that's again just fancy technicality language to say that we're going to be creating solutions to prevent global warming and climate change as a whole. Guiding questions. This is super duper important, and I would love everyone to get super familiar with these guiding questions. You can find them in the rules of procedure guide, but this is what's going to be serving as your guide for the whole debate. Every moderated caucus that you propose, every thing that you discuss should fall under these guiding questions in some sense. So the first one is, what are examples of climate solutions that can work across nation state boundaries, even with different national laws, politics, and economies? This is so important. Our solutions should be applicable to every single human being on this planet. It doesn't matter where they come from, right? Every single government, every single organization, every single person should be able to put these solutions to action no matter what. And that's what's, again, so important about interdependence. We need common solutions to common problems. So number one is crucial to understand. Number two, what mechanisms exist to elevate the voices of sectors like small-scale agriculture or industry compared to large-scale counterparts as part of climate solution decision-making? So what this means is that basically, how can we empower small like agricultural farms and small businesses compared to these large corporations that are doing a lot of practices that are very harmful to the environment, and how can we kind of put these smaller companies in the center stage? 3, should you have a separate channel from all other sectors and nation states to be part of the climate solution decision making? If so, what is this channel? So what this means is, how can we involve youth, basically, right? Should youth be involved the same way that governments are involved and corporations, or should youth be involved in this climate process in a different way? And what's the best way to organize the youth around this issue? Number 4. Number 4 is, how can sectors cooperate to help people whose jobs will be lost with climate solutions? So one of the big, issues, right, is that if we, are reducing fossil fuels and going to all this green practices, well, all these people who work in these factories, right, or work in things like coal mining or the travel industry are going to lose their jobs. So how can we help these individuals, and how can we help them across boundaries? And thank you everyone who's bearing with any of the technical issues to stay here. We really, really appreciate it. And again, there will be a recording after. And I can't, it's hard to type in the chat and then also present. So if anyone wants to feel free to summarize stuff in the chat and help your friends with any questions they have. And then lastly, how important is the role of raising awareness across sectors to find climate solutions? So again, really important, right? How do we raise awareness to all different groups of people to solve climate change? So these are all really important questions, and we hope that you will all read them over on your own time and start thinking about your ideas and your answers to these questions. So special rules of procedure. So a lot of you asked, is this MUN? Is this MUN? Well, okay, if you're familiar with Model UN, this is pretty similar to MUN. It's MUN style, but with a little changes. And if you're new to Model UN, thank you for coming, and this is totally accessible to anyone, and we're gonna explain all the rules of procedure and whatnot. So if you are new to MUN, feel free to give a reaction, just so we know, maybe how many are new. And if you're not new, okay, it looks like most people are not new, which is wonderful. And if you are new, welcome. So special rules of procedure. How is this differing from MUN? Well, first of all, the debate will open with opening speeches for each delegate, which is exactly the same as the Model UN you are used to. So, that will be the same. Everyone will start with an opening speech. Next, debate will be conducted with moderated and unmoderated caucuses. Again, same as normal MUN. And if you're new, we'll explain what these are. But moderated, unmoderated caucuses is how we will debate. So again, that is staying the same. The differences is that delegates will debate within their stakeholder groups first and draft preliminary recommendations. So what's going to happen is you're going to get assigned one of these 6 groups. Instead of a country, you're going to be assigned to agriculture, energy, industry, government, civil society, or knowledge workers. And we have background guides for each of these groups. And on the first day, when you come into the debate, you're going to be in a Zoom room with just people from your stakeholder group. So if you're assigned to agriculture, you're just going to be in a room with agriculture. And you're going to debate with your fellow people in the agriculture sector about how can you solve the issue of climate from the point of view of this group of people, right? So you're probably going to discuss issues that pertain to agriculture. Maybe you'll talk about the fact that climate change has created a lot of droughts that have caused low food production. Maybe you'll talk about deforestation. Maybe you'll talk about ways to help smaller farms, increase production from smaller farms as opposed to these large farms that are hurting the environment. So you're going to talk about the issue from the lens of this agriculture stakeholder group, and you're going to draft recommendations from that group specifically. And then on day 2, everyone from all 6 of these groups, so government, agriculture, industry, civil society, knowledge workers, everybody is going to come together on the second day, on Sunday, in one big Zoom room together, and you're going to present your recommendations. So agriculture will present the solutions they created, energy will present theirs, industry will present theirs, government will present theirs. We're going to have 6 documents that will be presented. And then you're going to enter debate with everybody, so everyone from all the different groups, on how you can combine these ideas to create one final document that everyone can agree on. Okay, so maybe you'll have to delete, some ideas, right? My bad. Maybe you'll have to delete some ideas that, industry thought of that agriculture doesn't agree with, right? Maybe it hurts agricultural workers in some way, the solution, or maybe it's, not good for, development of agriculture, and they don't want to agree with it. So maybe you'll have to delete those solutions. And then maybe you'll agree on others, and those you can keep. And you'll be debating and consolidating into a final document, and then all together you're going to vote. Okay, so on day 1, you're not actually really going to be voting necessarily on this. The whole point is to just collaboratively generate these ideas. Oh, yes. Do you have a question? Okay, I don't think there's a question. So, okay, there's a bunch of questions about this in the chat. So I'm going to go one by one and answer. So when will this be assigned? Hopefully tomorrow you'll receive your stakeholder group. Moderated caucus and unmoderated caucus, I'll get to that in a couple slides, so we'll get to that. If we're agricultural sector, will we be finding ways how we can put down climate change to facilitate farmers? Yes, that's exactly correct, right? You're going to be finding solutions to climate change that help people in the agricultural sector and agricultural workers, right? So these are solutions specifically that somebody from the agricultural sector would support. So think about instead of, finding solutions that France would support, you're finding solutions that an agricultural worker would support, or farmer, yes. When will this take place? So this is again next Saturday, next Sunday. On Saturday, you're debating just within your stakeholder group, and then Sunday, you're debating as a whole and voting on the final recommendations. So you'll be divided into those groups again. Like tomorrow, I'll send out the assignments. How will these different sectors debate against each other? So that's a really good question. I want to point out something in that language. Okay, for some reason also, the meeting will end in 10 minutes. Okay, I don't know why, because I'm supposed to have Zoom Premium, but I really apologize for all the technical issues. But if we have to get onto a different Zoom link, I will send it in email. So just a quick thumbs up, because we may have to jump on a different link for like 5 minutes. But is that okay with everyone if we have to do that? Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, how will we debate against each other? And that's a great question, because I want to point out something in that language, that we're not debating against each other, we're debating with each other. And that's where this debate is set apart from all other Model UN debates, right? The whole point is that we want to bring together people from government, agriculture, civil society, industry, to think about solutions that benefit all of them. So it's not like government versus agriculture, right? Whose ideas are better? It's how can a farmer work together with somebody from the government and somebody from, a large industrial corporation to create a solution that is beneficial to all. And we're really trying to reach people across borders, right? We're trying to take people who maybe work in factories that produce a lot of fossil fuels and tell them to create a solution with somebody from civil society, maybe somebody who's a climate activist. And how can we simulate them coming together and creating these solutions? So we're not going to be debating against each other. The goal is to debate with each other and to, again, agree on solutions as a whole. Are we going to specify an industry? That's a great question. So within each stakeholder group, there are some subgroups, and it will also send you those. So for example, within civil society, We have subgroups like climate activists, religious organizations, right? And those are some more specific lenses that you can debate from that, again, we'll send out. Okay, will we receive a certificate? Yes, you will. You just have to request one from me. So email me if you want a certificate, and that's fine. When will we get our group assignments? Tomorrow. And how will we collaborate? So you'll collaborate on Sunday. So on Sunday, when we all join together, like for the final 90 minutes of debate, that's when you'll be collaborating. You won't have to connect with anyone beforehand, but you will be collaborating like on the last day of debate. So solution for agriculture. So if you're in the agriculture stakeholder group, you're thinking of like solutions from the point of view of agriculture. But if you're in government, you're going to be thinking about solutions from like the point of view of government. And then on day 2, on Sunday, you're combining those ideas, if that makes sense. So I know there are a lot of questions. So you'll actually be creating these solutions, not just analyzing them. So we want you to be actually like writing these solutions and coming up with them yourselves, and we'll go over how to do that. Okay, so I hope that answers a lot of questions. I'm sure it'll make more sense as we continue on. And there are no awards for this. This is a collaborative simulation, and the award will hopefully be to have your language heard on the world stage, and to be able to work with global leaders on actually putting these ideas into action. So I hope that answers your question. So it's 90 minutes on Saturday and 90 minutes Sunday for how long it will be. Okay, so I'm going to move on, and we'll answer more questions soon. So another thing I want to mention is that all recommendations should be passed with consensus, meaning everyone should vote in favor, and that's the goal. We want everyone to vote yes. So the whole point is to put a lot more time into actually editing your ideas and writing them so that everyone will agree, and having these negotiations like before and putting time into that so everyone will vote yes at the end. So we really want to, that's the challenge here, to have every single delegate agree on these ideas. And that really reflects what needs to happen, in the real world for climate. We can't have a climate solution that not everyone buys into, not everyone agrees on. Because if, let's say everyone in the world agrees to do XYZ for climate, but I don't agree, and I continue, doing harmful practices, that affects the same planet that you live on, right? So we all need to agree on these solutions. So to go over quickly again the flow of debate, what's going to happen? Day 1, you enter the debate, immediately opening speeches. So you're going to be within your stakeholder group, right? Let's say I'm assigned to civil society, so I'm going to be in the civil society group, and we're going to have opening speeches. Then we're going to have some moderated and unmoderated caucuses, and we'll go over what that is in a second. We'll have to join another Zoom, but that's totally fine. So we'll have moderated and unmoderated caucuses. And then we're going to draft our recommendations, right? So maybe, so during this debate, we're actually going to have like a Google Doc, and we're going to be writing our solutions together. So maybe this is different from like THIMUN procedure that some of you know, where you actually bring a resolution that's already like created. You're going to be creating it during the debate. So you're going to be working with your friends in your stakeholder group to actually write your ideas during the debate, which is a little different too than maybe what you're familiar with. Day 2, so that was Saturday, you go to sleep, go about your day. Sunday, you join again. This time, everyone comes together. So everyone from all the stakeholder groups are in the same like committee room essentially, and you're each going to present the recommendations that were drafted on Saturday to the larger group. So about 3 representatives from agriculture will present the solutions agriculture came up with, and then representatives from industry will present theirs, and then government will present theirs. Everyone's going to present, and then you're going to discuss. So you're going to have, again, like more moderated and unmoderated caucuses to discuss the solutions. What do we agree with? What do we don't? What needs to be changed? And you're going to take these solutions and put them all into one document. And that document is what is going to be voted on and hopefully passed by every single delegate and agreed upon by everyone. And that's the final product that is then going to be taken and presented to world leaders. So does that make sense, like that flow? Again, you'll get these slides after, so you can like read it over again if you are confused. Okay, cool. Makes sense. So we already went over stakeholder groups, so that's awesome. So we're gonna do basic MUN rules of procedure now. But for this, I'm gonna end the meeting actually and send a new Zoom link. So if you go to the email chain where I sent everything, I'm gonna send another Zoom link, and we can all hop. Actually, to make that easier, don't leave yet. I'm gonna send the Zoom link to this meeting directly. So if you just give me like 1 second, I'm gonna send the new link in the chat, and you can just join directly from there. So just give me 1 second. Okay. I'm just gonna send a new link. Sorry everyone about all the technical issues, but I really thank you for bearing with me on this. Okay, so here's the new link. So I'm gonna end this meeting once everyone has received it, and then we're just gonna hop on this link to finish off. Probably about 10 minutes. And if you have to go, then please feel free. Everything will be recorded. So I'll record the second half as well, and it will be sent out. So I'm gonna stop. Hi everyone. So we're gonna just continue where we left off. Thank you so much for joining the second part of the session. It should be very quick. We're just gonna go over some basic like Model UN rules of procedure. If you just need like a refresher, we're just gonna be going over moderated caucuses, unmods, etc. And I'm just gonna go quickly through this. If you need like more help with the Model UN rules of procedure, it's in our delegate like rules of procedure guide that I sent out to everyone and that I'll send out again. I'm going to send out this presentation, so it will be there. And you can also just ask me, or find other online resources and just review this later on as well. So yes, we'll just get through this as quickly as possible. So basic rules of procedure. So quorum, that means that a certain amount of people need to like be present in order to vote on recommendations. Roll call, these are just like basic terms. So again, we don't really need to go over this that much, but roll call will be taken before the committee. You'll say that you're present. Points, so you're able to raise different points. So if you have a question, you can do a point of inquiry. And these are all the different points that you can raise. Again, I'm not going to go through each one because you can read these on your own time. So yeah, again, if you have questions about these, let me know or review them, but it's not super important, to be honest. The goal is again to like create these solutions for climate and to debate them. The technicalities don't matter as much. So yielding, this is if you have like extra time in your opening speech, you can yield it to another delegate and that delegate can speak for the remainder of the time, or you can yield it to the chair and nothing happens. Opening speeches. So this is the first thing that will happen. You're going to give a short speech that establishes your position in the committee. So, you're going to be, again, within your stakeholder group. So if you're an agricultural worker, maybe you're going to start explaining some of your ideas that you have and where you hope this debate will go. So it's just like an overview of the topic and your position. And it should not be longer than 1 minute. And again, you want to make it persuasive. You want to convince people that, to include your ideas in the final recommendation document. How to make opening speeches. So an opening speech consists of 3 components: introduction, 2 like essential questions or points, and then a memorable closing. Remember that you're not representing a country, so you're representing a stakeholder group. So if you ever see country in here, just like change it in your mind. But this is like the overview of how to make an opening speech. And again, I recommend that you can write one beforehand if you want to make it easier. Instead of just like coming up with it on the spot, you can also do that, whatever works for you. So a moderated caucus is a form of debate during which delegates speak about specific sub-issues of the main topic. So all moderated caucus topics need to be related to like the guiding questions that we discussed earlier. No, you do not need to submit position papers. You don't need to submit anything. You just need to show up on Saturday, next Saturday. So really minimal work. And I would just recommend that you read over all of this beforehand. So motion for a moderated caucus. So how do you motion for a moderated caucus, right? You must specify a total time and a speaking time. So an example would be Delegate X motion. So like Delegate of Zoe motions for a 6-minute moderated caucus with a 30-second speaking time to discuss ways to improve youth advocacy for climate action. So opening speeches will be 1 minute. Moderated caucus speeches, the time changes based on what you motion for. So I just motioned for a 6-minute moderated caucus with a 30-second speaking time. That means each delegate will have 30 seconds to speak, and there'll be 12 speakers because it will be 6 minutes long. And everyone has to discuss ways to improve youth advocacy for climate action. So you see how that's like a sub-issue of the overall topic. If I'm in the agricultural stakeholder group, I might motion for a moderated caucus to discuss how to empower small farms. Okay, does that make sense? How that works? Any questions on this? Okay, and if you have questions, like please ask. We want to clarify everything, now rather than later. Okay, amazing. Makes sense. Cool. Unmoderated caucuses are informal debate. So what this means is delegates can speak to each other in smaller groups without the restrictions of times and topics. So this is a time when you'll actually be going into breakout rooms and you'll get to discuss with your fellow delegates without like restricting time. Yeah, I'll go back to that slide. No worries, Siddharth. So an unmod is when parliamentary procedure is essentially suspended and you can just talk to each other like in a casual way, right? So if I'm talking to, Mariam, right? If we're in the same group, I can, have a more casual way of debating. I can be like, hey, delegate of, whatever, I think that we should, create this solution and do this and that, and then we can have like a back and forth conversation. So it's not like a speech, you're just having a conversation in smaller groups. And often recommendations will be written during this time. So this is when you'll go to that Google Doc and you'll work with your fellow committee members to draft your solutions. Anyone can request these caucuses at any time. Yeah, so you just have to motion for it. So how do you motion for an unmod? You're gonna raise your hand and then you're gonna say, Delegate of Zoe motions for a 10-minute unmoderated caucus. And for this, you don't need a speaking time and you don't need a topic. It's just 10 minutes long. So for 10 minutes, the chair is gonna say, okay, 10 minutes have started now, the timer will start, and you'll be able to go into breakout rooms and discuss with your fellow delegates or open up that Google Doc and start writing your solution ideas based on like what's been discussed in debate previously. Does that make sense? And there's no topic for an unmod. You can discuss anything related to the overall topic. Okay, cool. And this is the moderated caucus slide. So I think somebody wanted to go back to it. So feel free to, take a screenshot or take a look and I'll send it later on. Is there a limit of times you can motion? No, you can motion for as many as you want. Usually you don't motion for an unmoderated caucus in the very beginning. Usually you motion for that towards the end when you start to really draft your recommendations. Okay, amazing. So drafting recommendations. So what do I mean when I keep saying this? We're not drafting a Model UN resolution. That is not the end goal. So the goal of the simulation is to draft innovative and detailed solutions that we can later present to real climate leaders and international stakeholders. And the key to a successful action plan is providing enough detail while still drafting solutions that can be agreed upon by the entire committee. So again, detail, but you still want everybody to be able to agree on them. So that's where the negotiation comes in. And the end product, again, is not a Model UN resolution with preambulatory and operative clauses. It's just going to be a list of detailed solutions. So you do not need, I repeat, you do not need preambulatory and operative clauses. It's just a list of solution ideas that are very detailed. So this actually makes it a lot easier on you, right? Because you don't need to have that language of, request the establishment of, right? Or all of that stuff. You just need to list your ideas. You just need to list these action plans. So again, should be easier actually to draft these, but we do want as much detail as possible. So to help you draft your recommendations, you should always think about these questions when you're thinking about how much detail do we need. So you want to think about what is the proposed solution? Is it a program, a policy, creation of an agency? Who is responsible for implementing the solution? So is this being implemented by a certain government, a UN organization, individual citizens, or an NGO? Where is the solution being implemented? Is it international, national, regional, or local action? When is it being put into action, and are we going to evaluate its success? So is this like a one-time thing or an ongoing program? And how is the solution being implemented? In other words, what are the specific steps that must be carried out to effectively put it into action? So if you are able to answer all of these questions in your recommendations and in your solution, you did a good job. So you need to have enough detail. So always think about these questions. You can like take a picture of this, bring it to the debate. And if you're, worried, you can like look at your solution that you've written and be like, okay, who, what, where, when, how, and see if you can answer. So I'm going to show an example recommendation. These are just Zoom debate things, which I'm sure you all already know because you're here. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go to our rules of procedure guide. This is the last thing, everyone. So I know you've been here for a while and I'm so sorry, but thank you for coming. The final thing I will show is this. So everyone received this. I highly recommend you take a look. This is our rules of procedure guide. So it goes over everything that we've just discussed. And it has an example recommendation. So as you can see here, this is not like an operative clause. Like there's no operative phrase. It's an action item. So it's saying government should do this. Okay. So it easily lists out the solution. And I will be sharing the PowerPoint. Yes, of course. As you can see, this is super detailed. Now, your recommendations don't have to be like to this extent. They don't have to be this long, but this is the kind of detail we're looking for. We're looking for like detailed numbers, like really, really detailed specific information. Because we want these to be super detailed, you may not have time to write like 10 of these, right, in your committee. So when you're in your stakeholder groups, maybe you'll only have 5 solutions. And that's okay, because remember what's going to happen. We're combining the ideas of all of the stakeholder groups into one document. So if agriculture wrote 5 of these, well, industry may have also written, 5 or 6, and those will be combined with everyone. And in the end, we'll have like 20 plus solutions across all the stakeholder groups. Yeah, so you're drafting this within your stakeholder group. But they can apply to everyone. So like your solutions don't have to just benefit agriculture if you're in the agriculture group, because remember that people from government are going to have to like vote on your ideas. But it should just be like from the point of view of an individual in that group. So your solutions can benefit that group, but they can also be applicable to everyone, because again, everyone will vote on them. So like either is fine. But you should just be debating from the point of view of your like stakeholder group, if that makes sense. But you're going to be like writing these within those groups, yes. And then it will be combined and voted on with everyone. So that kind of concludes everything. Any last questions, like please drop them in the chat and I'll answer them right now. But if there are no questions, we're so excited to welcome you next weekend. I'm going to send out the recordings to this, the PowerPoint, the rules of procedure guide, and then tomorrow or Tuesday. So by Tuesday for sure, you'll get your assignments, and you can, start preparing. So we're really, really excited. We hope this will be so much fun and really empowering, because again, like whatever solutions you come up with next weekend are really going to be have real implications. So thank you for joining, and I really apologize for the technical issues, but I hope you have a fantastic day, and thank you really for sticking with us, everyone. Bye.